All right, so let's get into refining this sketch a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and make a new layer, and we're going to take our original layer. I'm gonna lower the opacity on that. And we're gonna continue drawing here. So I'm also gonna bring my brush size down now just a little bit. And we're going to start to refine this a little bit more. We're still keeping it pretty loose. We're just sort of beginning to come in here and tighten up what we had before. Okay, trying to get my eraser tool here so I can clean up some more of the overlaps we're starting to get. Alright, and then this dragon here, let's start to tighten that up. I'm going to zoom in here on his face so we can get a little bit more detail here. Zoom out just a little bit so I can focus on the symmetry here for a second first. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab my lasso tool here so that we can just sort of tighten this up a little bit. So one of the main benefits of starting loose is that as you go, it's a lot easier to sort of start changing things on the fly. For example, I said I want his mouth to be a little bit different shape. So instead of going with this sort of beak design I had originally, I can start to go with something a little bit more wide and reptilian. But if I had started out that way, it would be a lot harder at this point to, if I had started out really detailed, it'd be a lot harder at this point to just come back and make that change on the fly. I want to do something interesting with these horns here, so I'm trying to figure out a interesting position I could put them in. Maybe I should just keep it with just those ones on top. Alright, I think that's pretty good for what I want to have for the face, for at least for this sort of rough stage here. I think I know what will help too is if we bring these horns closer together. Alright, I think that helped a lot actually. Sort of narrow his face down some. And elongate his head a bit. I said I was done with his face, but it's not quite where I want it. It's important that you get this underdrawing part pretty close. It doesn't have to be exact, but I mean, for me personally, in the style that I paint in, I really like to have this base underdrawing pretty close to what I'm going to have from my final image. I mean, it can still change. There's no reason why you can't change it as you go, but for me, I like to have something that's pretty close representation because it saves me a lot of time later when I'm in the painting phase. I don't want his mouth to be open because I don't think I want it to be like threatening. I want it to be more sort of a mysterious feeling, you know, like what's going on in this image. And I think that if I have his mouth open, it'll look scary, but I also just got to figure out the right angle. All right. I think that looks a lot better. And then, do we even need these side horns? I think it looks better without them, so let's do without the side horns. Alright, there we go. Let's continue onward. Alright, so imagining that the top of his body is sort of like flattened. And so I'm trying to sort of get that idea across here. Thinking about things in form three-dimensionally. Alright, so there's a dragon. That looks pretty good, I think. I'm just going to suggest some of the sort of folds and wrinkles he might have in his skin here. Okay, then let's do these wings here. Alright, and I'm going to leave the detail in the shadows of these wings is just going to kind of be kind of lost in the shadows, so I'm not going to really make that I'm not gonna worry about that very much. I don't make it super detailed or anything. We do still have some trees to work on here, and as the trees get farther away from the viewer, they're going to become thinner and thinner, or at least they'll look thinner. They're not actually becoming thinner, but all right. And then I think the whole thing, actually, I need to shift the whole thing down. Do the same thing with that layer too. All right, I think that looks a little better composition-wise. Okay, and then we can just sort of finish those, finish those trees there. Back up to the top. Yeah, there we go. And then on these rocks, oops, we're on the wrong layer. These rocks, I'm going to put some designs markings to help sell the mystical sort of aspect of it. All right. And there we go. I think that is actually probably good enough for us to start jumping in and painting over this with some values. And really starting to tie this painting together. So that's going to be it for this lecture. I will see you guys in the next one.